Nothing burns more than realizing the person you once dismissed is now the one you can't ignore. That's the sting they're feeling right now. They laughed, they doubted, they tried to put you in a box that never fit. But today, chosen one, the box has shattered. Now imagine this for a moment. Someone builds a house of lies about you, brick by brick, thinking it will stand forever. But the moment truth walks in, that house crumbles into dust, leaving them exposed in their own falsehoods. That's exactly what's happening. People are realizing you're the real deal, and no illusion they created can hide it anymore. Studies in psychology show how the human mind hates being wrong. It reacts almost like it's under physical threat when reality clashes with its beliefs. That's why they're restless right now, because your existence is proof that their judgment failed. You've outgrown their imagination, and that fact alone leaves them shaken. And thank you, chosen one, for being here. Don't forget to pay this message back by simply pressing like and subscribe so this light can reach more souls who need to hear it. It's the responsibility of all of us to spread the truth and to make sure those who stand in the shadows don't silence what's real. Thank you for being part of this mission. You are not just a listener, you are part of a force that's reshaping the way the universe balances lies with truth. Now, back to the heart of this message. People know you're the real deal, and they can't deny it anymore. They thought they had you figured out, but their entire picture of you has collapsed under the weight of your reality. They assumed you'd be ordinary, easy to overlook, maybe even destined to stay in the background. But here you are, chosen one, standing in a position they swore you'd never reach. The shock in their eyes isn't just surprise, it's fear. Fear of how wrong they were, fear of how much power you carry now, fear of the fact that they can no longer define you by their labels. They wanted you to remain where they left you, but you moved far beyond that line. Now, their whispers, their gossip, their doubts, they all sound hollow because they no longer align with what everyone can see. This is the part they can't handle. The universe itself seems to back you up. Every step you've taken has revealed layers of strength they didn't know you had. Every win, every comeback, every quiet moment you refuse to quit has built proof they can't argue with. That's why people are switching sides now. Some who once doubted you are slowly sliding into admiration, some even into loyalty. The shift is real because truth always forces people to choose. Stay blind or accept what's in front of them. And deep down, they know you're not just another face in the crowd. You see what's going on. You understand what they tried to hide. You know what's up, and they can't keep pretending you don't. The interesting part is how fast people turn when truth becomes undeniable. Look through history and you'll find the same pattern. Those who were mocked often became the ones admired. Galileo was laughed at until science caught up. Innovators were doubted until their ideas reshaped the world. And now, chosen one, your life is echoing that same principle. They thought you were out of touch, but now they're realizing you've been ahead of the curve all along. You didn't need validation because reality was always going to catch up to your vision. The problem for them is they weren't ready for it to happen so soon, and now they're scrambling, asking themselves if they should resist you or stand beside you. But don't miss this. Switching sides doesn't always come from respect. Sometimes it comes from survival. They see the tide turning in your favor, and they don't want to be left behind. That's why the same mouths that once doubted you now speak in praise. Some of it is real, some of it is fake, but either way, it proves your impact. When people who never believed in you are forced to align with you, it's because the universe is showing them that truth cannot be buried forever. And that's your victory, chosen one. You didn't have to scream for recognition. You didn't have to prove yourself to anyone. You just had to keep walking, and eventually the world had no choice but to notice. So here we are, in this powerful moment where masks are falling, where loyalties are shifting, where those who swore they'd never admit your worth are now left speechless. They may not like it, but they have to face it. You are the real deal. You've always been the real deal. And now, the very same people who underestimated you are the ones losing their balance, because the truth about you is undeniable. So, chosen one, before we dive deeper into this truth, let me ask you, are you feeling that shift in the air? Can you sense how people who once doubted you are now forced to see you differently? If you know you're the real deal, and you can feel the universe exposing it, drop the number 777 in the comments right now. That's your stamp, your sign that you're aligned with this message. And if this word hits home, remember to bless the team behind it with your support, whether it's a like, a share, or a super thanks. It all fuels this mission forward. Every single action you take keeps this light spreading to those who need it most. Because, make no mistake, chosen one, you are part of this force. You are not just listening, you are standing with a movement that refuses to let lies win over truth. And now, let's step into it, piece by piece. Stay with me until the very end. Because if you really are who I know you are, you'll feel that pull to see it all unfold. Let's begin. Number 1. When the spotlight burns, they can't hide anymore. They laughed when you were grinding in silence, but now they choke on their own words when your light blinds them. That's the pain echoing through their chest right now. Chosen one. They never expected you to shine like this. They thought you would fade into the background, swallowed up by the noise of mediocrity, just another nameless face lost in the crowd. But the universe has a cruel way of flipping the script. You became the one they can't ignore, the one who glows so bright it exposes every lie they ever told about you. And now they're left standing in the ruins of their own arrogance, watching you rise where they swore you would never stand. Imagine this for a moment. They spent years painting you in dull colors, as if they had the right to define your canvas. They dipped their brushes in assumptions, in gossip, in shallow judgments, and they thought that the portrait they painted of you would last forever. But then reality walked in like fire to old paper, and the picture they built burned to ashes before their eyes. That's what it feels like for them right now. Every rumor, every underestimation, every smirk they threw your way, it collapses under the weight of undeniable truth. And here's the fact they can't stomach. You never needed their permission to stand out. You never needed their validation to prove you're the real deal. You carried your own proof, and now it screams louder than their lies ever could. Why does it sting them so deeply? Because human nature hates being wrong, especially about someone they look down on. Psychology even proves it. When people realize their judgment is shattered by reality, it feels like a direct threat to their identity. It rattles their sense of control. And right now, chosen one, that's exactly what's happening. They feel threatened by your very existence, because every time you succeed, it forces them to confront how wrong they were. And that's brutal for them, because admitting they were wrong about you means admitting they are not the great judges of character they pretend to be. It means they were blind while you were awake. Let's flip the question. Why did they ever believe you wouldn't make it? Was it because you didn't fit their mold of what success should look like? Was it because your path didn't match their shallow checklist? Or was it simply easier for them to believe you were weak, because believing in your strength scared them? The answer doesn't even matter anymore, because every assumption they built has now shattered under the weight of your glow. They called you average, but you became the exception. They thought you'd quit, but you outlasted their doubt. They thought your voice was too small, but now it echoes in rooms they can't even enter. And don't think for a second that their shock is innocent. This isn't just surprise. It's envy dressed in silence. It's jealousy hiding behind forced smiles. You stand out not because you tried to, but because the universe never designed you to blend in. And the more you rise, the more their insecurities crack open. They can't stand that your light exposes their shadows. They can't stand that every time you step forward, it reminds them how stuck they are. And worst of all, they can't stand that people are starting to switch sides, because deep down, others see the truth too. People who once fed into their lies are now quietly drifting toward your corner, pulled in by the undeniable force of authenticity. Here's the part that breaks them the most. They thought standing out was about flash, about pretending, about playing a role. They never understood that standing out is about resilience. It's about refusing to bow to false images. It's about showing up every day when nobody clapped for you, when nobody believed in you, when nobody thought you'd make it. That's what makes you shine brighter than all of them combined. And now, chosen one, your glow has become their torment. Because no matter how much they try to downplay you, no matter how much they whisper behind your back, they can't erase what's already carved into reality. You are undeniable. Let me give you another image. Imagine a room filled with candles. Most of them flicker weakly, struggling to keep their flame alive. But then, in the corner, one candle burns so fiercely it lights the entire room. That's you. And those weak flames? They resent your fire because your brightness reminds them of everything they lack. They can't dim you, but they'll hate you for making them feel small. Yet here's the irony. They can't survive without your light, because your presence is what keeps the room alive. That's the paradox they live with. They can't live with you, and they can't live without you. So what's left for them now? Some will try harder to drag your name down. They'll invent new lies, new stories, anything to convince themselves you don't deserve your shine. Others will quietly switch sides, pretending they always believed in you, hoping you don't remember the doubt they once spread. And then there are those who will simply drown in silence, too proud to admit they were wrong, too broken to face the truth. But all of it is proof of one thing. They see you now. They see that you're not just another face in the crowd. They see that you are the real deal, and the reality of that truth will haunt them more than any rumor they ever spoke. And chosen one, let that fuel you. Let their disbelief become the gasoline that pushes you even further. Every doubt they threw was a seed, and now it has grown into proof they can't deny. Your shine is not an accident. It's not luck. It's the result of every night you didn't quit, every setback you turned into a lesson, every time you kept walking when they swore you were finished. That's why you stand out. Not because you wanted to prove them wrong, but because proving yourself right was always enough. So let them choke on their shock. Let them wrestle with their envy. Let them sit in the discomfort of their failed assumptions. Because at the end of the day, you don't just stand out, you stand above. And every step you take forward is another reminder that their lies never defined you. The truth did. The universe did, and now the world has no choice but to see it. Number 2, the truth they can't bury anymore. They mocked the climb, but now they're choking on the view you've reached. That's the gut punch they feel every time they see you now. For so long, they convinced themselves that you were going nowhere. They wrote a story about you in their heads, a cheap, second-rate version where you stayed stuck, small and silent. But here you are, chosen one, standing in a place they swore you'd never touch. The facts are undeniable, and no matter how they twist the narrative, the evidence of your rise is written in reality, not in their gossip. Imagine this for a moment. They built a cage for you, bars made of lies and low expectations. They thought you'd rattle around in it forever, trapped by their judgment. But while they wasted their time watching, you found the key in your own hands. You stepped out, and now you're running free across a field so wide they can't even see the edges. That image alone eats them alive. Because the truth they can't stomach is this: you weren't trapped, you were training. Every limitation they tried to impose became resistance, and resistance only made you stronger. Here's another truth that makes their chest tighten. The human mind clings to its stories, even false ones, because it hates change. That's why they're so angry, so baffled, so restless about your growth. It destroys the lies they built to keep themselves comfortable. They ask themselves, how did you outwork us? How did you rise above? How did you achieve what we said was impossible? And every time they ask, the answer slices deeper. Because you didn't stop. Because while they were busy watching you, doubting you, or mocking you, you were too busy building, too busy grinding, too busy becoming. First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then they watch you win. That's not just a saying, it's the rhythm of your story. You've already moved through those stages, and now you're at the point where they can't deny your victory. They may not clap, they may not admit it, but their silence is loud enough. Their eyes betray them, their envy exposes them. They see your work, your results, your elevation, and it clashes with the image they once sold about you. And that clash feels like a mirror shattering in their hands. Imagine this: they set the finish line far ahead, assuming you'd never get there. They thought they had time to laugh, to mock, to spread their false stories. But while they were distracted, you didn't just reach the line. You ran past it, crossed 3 more, and now you're standing on a mountain they didn't even know existed. That's the power of consistency, the fire of a chosen one. You didn't stop at their limits. You built your own map and left them scrambling in the dust. They wonder now, was it luck? Was it timing? No, it was neither. It was persistence. It was you refusing to collapse under the weight of their disbelief. It was you carrying scars like armor and lessons like weapons. The truth that breaks them is that your rise wasn't magic. It was earned, and that's exactly why they can't explain it away. If it were luck, they could dismiss it. If it were a fluke, they could ignore it. But when the evidence screams work, discipline, and resilience, they have no escape. Reality doesn't care about your lies. It only bends to effort. That's the fact that destroys their comfort. You worked when they rested. You built when they mocked. You kept moving when they tried to hold you still. That's why you're here now. And that's why they're choking on disbelief. They thought the universe would side with their gossip, but the universe only sides with truth, and truth has chosen you. Let's answer the question they keep whispering to themselves in the dark. How did we miss it? They missed it because they never looked closely. They only saw what they wanted to see. They were blind to your hunger, your focus, your silent fire. They assumed comfort equals strength, but you thrived in discomfort. They assumed setbacks meant endings, but you turned every setback into fuel. They assumed silence meant weakness, but your silence was strategy. That's why they're shocked now, because the facts show a different story, and it's not the one they told. Imagine them holding a deck of cards stacked against you, certain the game was rigged in their favor. But you walked into the room, flipped the entire table, and revealed that the game was never theirs to control. That's what it feels like for them now. They thought they had you cornered, but the truth exposed their bluff. And now they sit in disbelief, watching you rewrite rules they thought could never change. And here's the irony, your rise doesn't just challenge their lies, it exposes their laziness. They hate that you outworked them because it shows them who they could have been if they'd moved like you. Your success holds up a mirror, and the reflection burns. That's why their silence turns into bitterness, why their envy grows sharper by the day. They can't say you didn't earn it. They can't say you don't deserve it. They can only sit there, angry that the facts scream louder than their fiction. Truth is heavy, that's why so few people can carry it. And chosen one, you've carried it all along. You carried it when they laughed, when they doubted, when they tried to bury your name. And now it shines through everything you are, undeniable, unshakable, unbroken. That's why some of them are switching sides, because when facts stand this strong, even your enemies can't help but admit the truth, even if it eats them alive. So let them squirm, let them choke on their disbelief, let them sit in the ruins of the lies they built around you, because while they wrestle with shattered illusions, you're still rising, still moving, still building. And every step you take forward is another nail in the coffin of their false narrative. They can hate it, they can deny it, but they can't change it. The facts are undeniable, and the truth has already chosen you. And number 3, the blade of your mind cuts them open. They thought your silence meant stupidity, but little did they know, a quiet mind is the sharpest blade. That's the wound they're nursing right now, chosen one. They underestimated the very thing that makes you unstoppable, your intelligence, not the kind they measure with diplomas on a wall or letters after a name, but the kind that adapts, that observes, that evolves. You carry a mind that sees through deception like glass, that dissects problems others can't even name, that grows stronger every time it's challenged. And for them, that truth is unbearable. Imagine this for a moment. They were reading from a children's book while you were silently writing your own library. They thought you were behind because you weren't speaking their language, but the truth is, you were operating at a level they couldn't even comprehend. That's why they feel blindsided. Because while they were busy mocking, you were busy learning. While they were clinging to their fragile sense of superiority, you were turning knowledge into ammunition. And now, when your mind slices through the lies they built, they realize too late. They never stood a chance. Here's the fact they choke on. Intelligence isn't about memorizing rules. It's about knowing when to break them. It's about asking the questions they're too scared to ask. It's about seeing patterns in chaos while they only see noise. That's what separates you, chosen one. They thought you'd be predictable, but your ability to adapt makes you untouchable. And that adaptability terrifies them because it means they can't trap you in the cages they set for others. Ask yourself this: why did they misjudge your mind so badly? Was it because you didn't flaunt it? Because you didn't waste your energy proving yourself to those who never wanted to understand? Exactly. Your restraint made them assume weakness, when in reality it was strategy. And now every move you make exposes the gap between your depth and their shallowness. That's why they're scrambling. That's why they whisper, because your brilliance doesn't just illuminate you, it reveals their ignorance. Knowledge is the fire that turns shadows into ashes. You carried that fire, and now it burns so bright that no one can deny it anymore. They can't rewrite this fact. They can't bury this truth. Your sharp intelligence has carved a place for you that no enemy can erase, and every time they try to deny it, they only end up cutting themselves on the blade of your mind. Number 4, the mask they made for you is shattering in their hands. They built a puppet version of you, but now the strings have snapped and the truth stands tall. That's the panic setting in, chosen one. They spent years crafting an image of you out of thin air, an image designed to shrink you, to flatten you, to make you look ordinary. They painted you as average because it comforted them. It allowed them to feel safe, superior, in control. But here's the problem with false images. The moment reality steps into the room, they crumble like cheap plaster. And that's exactly what's happening right now. Imagine this. They sculpted a clay figure of you in their minds, fragile, breakable, easy to dismiss. But while they were busy shaping lies, you were becoming steel. Now, every time you move, every time you speak, every time you succeed, that clay figure explodes into dust. And what replaces it is a reality they can't control. A sharper, stronger, more intelligent version of you that they never prepared for. That's why their hands shake. Because what they created in their heads no longer matches the truth staring them down. They wonder, how could we have been so wrong? How did we miss this? The answer is simple. They never really saw you. They saw only what they wanted to see. They built a mask and forced it onto your face, ignoring every sign of your brilliance, your resilience, your uniqueness. It unsettles them now because the gap between their fantasy and your reality is too wide to cross. And that dissonance eats at them like acid. Here's the fact they can't deny. Lies may last for a season, but truth always has the final word. They wanted you to blend in, to disappear in the sea of mediocrity. But you weren't designed to be hidden. You weren't built to dim your fire. And now that your light is undeniable, their narrative collapses. The truth doesn't need defending. It simply stands while lies fall apart. That's the brutal lesson they're learning as they watch the mask they made for you dissolve in their own hands. So let them choke on the dust of their false images, chosen one, because while they're left scrambling in confusion, you're standing tall, unshaken, the undeniable proof that their version of you never existed. The mask is gone. Only the real deal remains. Number 5. You were never meant to disappear in the crowd. They wanted you to be wallpaper, quiet, forgettable, but you turned out to be the whole damn mural. That's the blow they're feeling right now, chosen one. They thought you'd be another shadow in the crowd, another voice echoing the same tired thoughts, another face fading into the background. But the truth has smacked them hard. You don't blend in, you never did, and you never will. Your very existence disrupts the pattern, and it gnaws at them because they can't cover it up anymore. Imagine this, a field full of grey stones, lifeless and predictable. Then, out of nowhere, a diamond glitters under the sun. That's you. They wanted you to stay as dull as the rest, but your sharpness, your clarity, your brilliance refuses to stay hidden. And every time your mind sparks with an idea, every time you move in ways they can't predict, it reminds them that you're not like them. That difference exposes their mediocrity, and it burns. They whisper to themselves, what makes this person so different? Why can't they just be like everyone else? The answer is simple, because you never needed their labels, their titles, or their empty badges of approval. You don't need to be a professor to think beyond limits. You don't need a stamp of validation to know your worth. What sets you apart is your hunger to keep growing, your courage to see what others ignore, your refusal to let fear cage your mind. That mindset is rarer than any certificate, and it terrifies them because they can't replicate it. Originals disturb the comfort of imitators. That's why you stand out wherever you go. You don't just walk into a room, you shift the atmosphere. Your presence forces people to confront the truth that they're stuck while you're expanding. They can't box you in, they can't predict your next move, and they sure as hell can't blend you back into the crowd. You're too bright, too sharp, too alive. So let them squirm, chosen one. Let them stew in their discomfort as your uniqueness rattles their illusions. You were never meant to blend in. You were always meant to stand out, to disrupt, to be the undeniable proof that the universe doesn't reward conformity. It rewards authenticity, and you, chosen one, are living proof. Number 6. The core they can't touch, no matter how hard they try. They judged your surface, but it's your depth that drowns them. That's the ache in their chest right now, chosen one. They thought they had you mapped out, reduced to a label, a job, or a role. They believed your worth could be boxed into categories they understood. But what defines you isn't any title you hold, any paycheck you earn, or any spotlight you stand under. What defines you is the core, the raw essence of who you are when all the noise is stripped away. And that, chosen one, is something they can't measure, can't control, and can't break. Imagine this. They skimmed the surface of an ocean, thinking they knew its secrets. They laughed at the waves, mocked the ripples, and assumed that was all there was to see. But beneath, hidden from their shallow gaze, were depths so vast they could never comprehend. That's you. And now, when pieces of that depth rise to the surface, your insight, your wisdom, your relentless hunger to grow, it shakes them. Because it forces them to admit they never knew you at all. They ask themselves, how did we miss it? How did we not see how powerful this person really is? The truth is simple. They never looked deeper than their own comfort allowed. They were content with assumptions because assumptions kept them safe. If they told themselves you were simple, they didn't have to confront the threat of your complexity. If they believed you were ordinary, they didn't have to acknowledge the brilliance that made them feel small. But now, their illusions are cracking, and what's underneath leaves them unsettled. Depth is dangerous to the shallow. That's why your growth rattles them, because while they chased surface validation, you chased expansion. While they settled for being known, you settled for knowing more. Your drive to evolve has carried you past every limitation they imagined for you, and it leaves them choking on disbelief. They thought they had you figured out, but the truth is, they barely scratched the surface. So let them drown in their shallow waters while you keep diving deeper, chosen one, because what defines you is untouchable, unshakable, and undeniable. It's the core of who you are, and that core is something they will never have the power to rewrite. Number 7. The game they played backfired in their face. They thought you were a pawn, but you turned out to be the player who flips the whole board. That's the sting eating at them now, chosen one. They believed you were simple, easy to manipulate, someone they could string along like a puppet without resistance. They looked at you and saw weakness because they mistook your patience for ignorance. But patience is not stupidity, it's strategy. And while they were busy plotting, you were already 10 steps ahead, watching, calculating, letting them write their own downfall. Imagine this. A hunter sets a trap, smug in their confidence. They bait it, hide it, and wait for you to step in. But when they return, they find the trap snapped shut on empty air, while you're standing behind them, holding the map of every move they made. That's exactly how it feels for them now. They thought you were the prey, but you were studying them the entire time, and nothing terrifies a deceiver more than being exposed by the very person they swore was blind. They whisper to themselves, how did we miscalculate so badly? How did this person see through us? The answer is brutal, because you've lived too much, learned too much, and endured too much to be anyone's fool. Every scar sharpened your instincts. Every betrayal trained your eye. Every lie you endured became a lesson you now use to cut through deception like glass. That's why their games don't work anymore, because you've mastered the rules they tried to use against you. Deception dies in the presence of clarity, and you, chosen one, are pure clarity. You don't need to expose their every move. Your very awareness is enough to shake them. They can feel it in your gaze, that weight of knowing, that silent recognition that strips their power away. And that silence terrifies them more than words ever could. So let them tremble, let them stew in the fear of being seen for what they are, because the truth is undeniable now. They can't fool you, they can't use you, and they can't touch you. The game is over, and the player they underestimated has already claimed the win. Number 8. The pushback proves your power. They don't throw stones at trees with no fruit. That's why the resistance comes, chosen one. They see you thriving, they see your strength, they see your mind cutting through illusions, and it burns them. It shakes their foundation because you were never supposed to reach this level. In their eyes, you were meant to stay silent, stuck, invisible. But now you're living proof that their judgment was worthless and that truth makes them restless. So what do? They resist, they push back, they try to silence you because acknowledging your rise would mean admitting their failure. Imagine this. A storm gathers, not because the sky hates the mountain, but because the mountain stands tall enough to block its path. That's you. Your very presence disrupts their comfort zones. Your success exposes their stagnation. Your courage reveals their cowardice. And like a storm, their resistance isn't random. It's a direct reaction to your height, your strength, your refusal to bend. That's why they gossip, why they undermine, why they attempt to pull you down. It's not about you being wrong. It's about you being undeniable. They ask themselves in whispers, why them? Why not us? How did this person break through when we couldn't? The answer cuts deep. Because you worked while they wished. You built while they doubted. You kept moving when they froze. Every victory you've earned carries the weight of your discipline, your focus, your refusal to settle. That fact unsettles them more than anything. It forces them to confront that their excuses were never truth. Just comfort blankets they clung to while you outgrew the cold. Opposition is the tax you pay for being real. That's why you can't escape resistance. It follows every chosen one who dares to rise. But here's the secret. Resistance isn't proof of weakness. It's proof of strength. It means you're shaking systems they thought were untouchable. It means you've become a mirror reflecting everything they don't want to see in themselves. And the harder they push, the clearer it becomes that you're already ahead. So let them resist, chosen one. Let them throw their stones. Let them spit their venom. Let them try to drag you into their shadows, because their resistance is the loudest confession of all. You are thriving, you are strong, and you are everything they swore you could never be, and nothing they do will ever change that. Number 9. Their whole picture of you was a lie. They drew a cartoon of you in their minds, but reality handed them a masterpiece they can't erase. That's the sting they're living with now, chosen one. From the start, they misjudged you, not by accident, but by choice. They took whispers, assumptions, and fragments of envy and glued them together to create a version of you that never existed. It was easier for them to believe their own fiction than to face the truth of your strength. But lies are fragile things, and now those lies are breaking under the weight of undeniable proof. You are nothing like the shadow they tried to paint. Imagine this. They stood outside a fortress, staring at the walls, and assumed they knew everything about what was inside. They judged the exterior, threw insults at the stone, and convinced themselves they understood the foundation. But once the gates opened, they realized they were clueless. That fortress was deeper, stronger, and more unshakable than they could have ever imagined. That's you. They never had the facts, never had the insight. They only had their envy. And envy doesn't tell the truth. It distorts it. They ask themselves now, how did we get it so wrong? How did we fail to see who this person really is? The answer is simple. They never cared to look deeper. They didn't want the truth because the truth would have forced them to face their own weakness. They preferred the lie because it kept them comfortable. But now comfort has collapsed, and all they're left with is the humiliation of being exposed. Assumptions are the graves where truth gets buried. They dug your grave in their minds, thinking that false image would hold forever. But you climbed out, alive and unshaken, and now their narrative lies in ruins. Every success you claim, every step you take forward, every ounce of strength you show, tears down the flimsy version of you they built. And the shock on their faces is the sweetest proof that they never knew you at all. So let them wrestle with their confusion. Let them drown in the lies they told themselves, because the truth is standing right in front of them now, undeniable and unbreakable. They misjudged you completely, and that mistake will haunt them every time they see you rise. Number 10, they chose the shallow end and drowned in it. They skimmed your surface, but depth drowns the ones too scared to dive. That's the brutal truth here, chosen one. They never dared to see beyond the obvious. Their envy blinded them, so they stayed in the shallow waters, where everything feels safe, where nothing challenges their limited perspective. They thought they could size you up in an instant, slap a label on you, and walk away convinced they knew who you were. But you're not a puddle they can step over. You are an ocean, layered, complex, and vast. And now that truth crashes against them like a wave they can't withstand. Imagine this: someone stands at the edge of a sea, staring only at the ripples on the surface. They mock the water, saying it's small, predictable, unthreatening, but beneath, unseen to their eyes, are currents strong enough to sink ships and depths filled with life they'll never understand. That's you. And their mistake was assuming that because they didn't explore, nothing else existed. Their ignorance doesn't erase your complexity. It only exposes their fear of it. They ask themselves now, why didn't we see it? How did this person slip past us? The answer is simple. They never looked with honest eyes. They stayed on the surface because the surface was comfortable. They avoided depth because depth requires courage, and courage is something they've never had. You were never ordinary, but calling you ordinary made them feel safe. You were never predictable, but pretending you were helped them sleep at night. Now, those illusions are gone, and they're left choking on the truth. Depth terrifies the shallow because it forces them to admit how empty they are. That's why they avoided diving into who you really are. They couldn't handle the weight of your layers, the sharpness of your mind, the strength of your spirit. And now, when those depths reveal themselves in your success, your growth, your undeniable brilliance, they're rattled, because every achievement you earn reminds them of how shallow they chose to remain. So let them cling to the surface, chosen one. Let them circle in their shallow pools, pretending depth doesn't exist. Because you're the ocean they'll never be able to map, the force they'll never comprehend, and the truth that keeps proving them wrong every single day. Number 11, shattering the cage they built for you. They tried to press you into their mold, but you broke it into pieces sharp enough to cut their hands. That's the sting they feel every time your name comes up, chosen one. They expected you to fall in line, to mimic the same tired patterns they cling to live inside the safety of routines that suffocate growth. They wanted you to be predictable because predictability makes people easier to control, but you were never made to be predictable. You were made to break patterns, and in breaking theirs, you've exposed just how fragile they always were. Imagine this: they pour molten metal into a cast, expecting it to take the shape they want, but instead, the fire grows hotter, the pressure builds, and the mold explodes. What's left is not their design, but something uncontainable, stronger and more valuable than they could ever imagine. That's you. They thought you'd fit neatly into their categories, their labels, their definitions. Instead, you shattered them all, and now they're standing in the wreckage, confused and bitter. They whisper in frustration, "Why can't this person just be like everyone else? Why can't they just follow the rules?" The answer is simple: because the rules were never meant for you. You don't think in straight lines. You don't walk the paths they hand out like instructions. You carve your own road, and that terrifies them because it shows everyone else that conformity is a choice, not a requirement. Your refusal to bend reveals how much they've been bowing to limitations that never truly existed. Those who don't fit the mold become the fire that melts it. That's why your very presence unsettles them. You prove that life isn't about staying inside boundaries. It's about expanding them. Your journeys aren't just physical, though they may take you far. They are mental, emotional, and intellectual. You push deeper, ask sharper questions, and reach for truths they don't dare to touch. That hunger for meaning, for growth, for knowledge sets you apart in ways they'll never replicate. So let them stew in their broken molds. Chosen one, let them cling to the shards of their expectations while you continue to rise beyond them. You weren't made to fit in their frame. You were made to break it, to expand beyond it, and to prove that the universe never rewards the comfortable, only the courageous. Number 12, the core they can never take from you. They can strip away titles, possessions, and status, but they'll never touch the essence of who you are. That's the truth that rattles them, chosen one. The world taught them to measure worth in things that fade: cars, clothes, houses, empty symbols. But you are living proof that true value doesn't live in material possessions. It lives in the core. It's the essence of who you are, the depth of your mind, the fire of your determination. That's what sets you apart, and that's what they can never buy, borrow, or steal. Imagine this. Two houses stand side by side. One looks polished, flashy, perfect from the outside, but inside it's hollow, falling apart. The other looks simple, modest even, but its foundation is unshakable, built on bedrock. You are that second house. While others scramble to decorate the exterior, you invested in what holds everything together. That's why storms that break them only sharpen you. That's why your worth is untouchable. It isn't hanging on the surface, it's rooted in the core. They wonder, why won't this person bend to fit our expectations? Why don't they care about impressing us? The answer is simple. You've seen the emptiness of chasing approval. You've lived through being misjudged, through being defined by assumptions that never matched the truth. And you realized something powerful. People who live on the surface will never understand depth. They don't dive because they're afraid of what they'll find. So they stay shallow, while you keep sinking deeper, finding strength, meaning, and purpose in places they'll never reach. Authenticity is the currency the shallow can't afford. That's why your existence unsettles them, because you refuse to play the game of masks. You refuse to shrink yourself for approval. You choose connection over performance, meaning over noise, and growth over comfort. And every time you stand firm in that truth, it exposes how fragile their definitions of worth really are. So let them keep their hollow possessions, chosen one. Let them cling to their shallow measures of value, because what truly defines you is untouchable, unshakable, and eternal, the depth of your essence, the strength of your core. And that is something they will never be able to replicate. Number 13. Rise beyond their limits. Elevate beyond their reach. They tried to freeze you in the past, but growth has a way of breaking chains. That's what burns them the most, chosen one. They wanted you stuck, predictable, easy to label, easy to dismiss, but you refused to stay where they left you. You went deeper, pushed past their boundaries, and found meaning where they only saw appearances. They were wrong about you from the start, but their blindness is not your burden to carry. Imagine this: they planted you in shallow soil, thinking your roots would never spread. But instead of withering, you broke through the ground, stretching wider, taller, reaching light they never thought you'd touch. Every leaf, every branch you grow now is a reminder of their miscalculation. And it drives them mad, because your elevation exposes how little they've moved in their own lives. They ask themselves quietly, why didn't we see this coming? Why didn't they stay small like we expected? The answer is simple: you were never meant to stay surface level. Growth is written in your essence. You've always carried the hunger to expand, to learn, to elevate, while they clung to comfort. Their fear kept them still, but your courage keeps you rising. Elevation exposes stagnation. That's why your climb unsettles them so deeply. Every time you grow, it forces them to face how little they've changed. But that's not your problem, it's theirs. Your duty is not to make them comfortable. Your duty is to keep moving, to keep elevating, to keep proving that the universe favors those who refuse to stand still. So love yourself, chosen one. Care for your spirit, nurture your mind, and pour your energy into building something real, not just for you, but for the people who are ready to rise beside you. Some will never understand you, and that's fine. Their hesitation, their fear, their shallow sight has nothing to do with your mission, because you know who you are and you know where you're headed. Keep growing, keep elevating, keep stepping into spaces they swore you'd never reach. And remember this: every time you rise higher, you remind the world that their limits were never yours to begin with.